Module 2, Traditional Animation Techniques. Principles of Hand-Drawn Animation. Hand-drawn animation, also known as traditional animation, is a technique where each frame of the animation is drawn by hand on paper or celluloid sheets, cells. There are several key principles that form the foundation of hand-drawn animation, which are used to create the illusion of motion. These principles include: 1. Squash and stretch. Squash and stretch is the principle that gives animation its sense of weight and flexibility. It involves exaggerating the shape of an object or character as it moves, by squashing it down or stretching it out. For example, when a character jumps, their body may stretch upwards, and when they land, their body may squash down. Squash and stretch adds visual interest, impact, and naturalness to the animation. 2. Timing and spacing. Timing and spacing are crucial for creating the illusion of motion in hand-drawn animation. Timing refers to the speed and rhythm of the animation, while spacing refers to the placement and distance between frames. Animators need to carefully consider the timing and spacing of each frame to create smooth and believable movement. For example, fast movements may require fewer frames with less spacing, while slow movements may require more frames with more spacing. 3. Anticipation. Anticipation is the principle that prepares the audience for an action or movement. It involves showing a small movement or action that precedes the main action, creating a sense of anticipation and building up to the main action. For example, before a character jumps, they may crouch down and prepare for the jump. Anticipation adds anticipation and impact to the animation, making it more dynamic and engaging. 4. Follow-through and overlapping action. Follow-through and overlapping action are principles that add secondary motion and fluidity to an animation. Follow-through refers to the continuation of movement after the main action has stopped, while overlapping action refers to the parts of a character or object that move at different rates due to their weight or inertia. For example, when a character stops abruptly, their hair or clothing may continue to move for a moment. Follow-through and overlapping action add naturalness and realism to the animation. 5. Arcs. Arcs are the curved paths that objects or characters follow when they move, and they are an important principle in hand-drawn animation. Most natural movements, such as walking, swinging, or throwing, follow arcs rather than straight lines. Animators need to carefully consider and draw these arcs to create smooth and believable motion in their animation. 6. Staging. Staging is the principle that involves the careful arrangement of elements in the frame to convey clear and effective storytelling. It involves considering the composition, camera angles, and placement of characters or objects in the frame to convey the intended message or emotion. Staging helps guide the audience's attention and creates visual clarity in the animation. 7. Exaggeration. Exaggeration is the principle that involves exaggerating the movements or expressions of characters or objects for artistic and storytelling purposes. It allows animators to convey emotions, convey humor, or create visual interest in the animation. However, it should be used judiciously to avoid creating unrealistic or jarring animation. These are some of the key principles of hand-drawn animation that are used by animators to create the illusion of motion and bring their drawings to life. Each principle contributes to the overall quality and effectiveness of the animation, and skilled animators carefully apply these principles to create visually appealing and engaging hand-drawn animations. Drawing and inking techniques. Drawing and inking are fundamental techniques in hand-drawn animation that involve creating the initial sketches and then refining and finalizing them to prepare for animation. Here are some common drawing and inking techniques used in hand-drawn animation. 1. Penciling. Penciling is the initial stage of creating drawings for hand-drawn animation. Animators use pencils to create rough sketches, known as pencil tests, on paper or cells. Pencils with different levels of hardness are used to create various line weights and textures, allowing animators to convey different forms, shapes, and details. Penciling is the foundation of the animation, where the key poses, movements, and expressions of the characters or objects are sketched out. 2. Cleanup. Cleanup is the process of refining the rough pencil sketches and creating final, polished drawings for animation. Animators use erasers and pencils to clean up the rough lines, removing any unnecessary lines or smudges and creating clean, smooth lines that are ready for inking. Cleanup involves adding more details, defining the character's features, and ensuring consistency in the drawings. 3. Inking. Inking is the process of creating the final lines of the animation using ink, usually using specialized pens or brushes. Inking is done on top of the cleaned-up pencil drawings to create a clear, crisp outline that is ready for coloring and animating. Ink lines are typically bold and consistent, and they define the final shape and form of the characters or objects. 4. Line weights. Line weights refer to the thickness or thinness of the lines in a drawing. Varying line weights can add depth, dimension, and visual interest to a drawing. Typically, characters or objects in the foreground are drawn with thicker lines, while those in the background are drawn with thinner lines. Line weights are achieved by varying the pressure applied while inking, or by using pens or brushes of different thicknesses. 5. Hatching and cross-hatching. Hatching and cross-hatching are techniques used to create shading and texture in hand-drawn animation. Hatching involves drawing parallel lines in the same direction to create areas of shadow or texture, while cross-hatching involves drawing overlapping lines at different angles. These techniques can be used to add volume, depth, and texture to characters, objects, and backgrounds. 6. Stipple. Stippling is a technique that involves creating patterns of dots to create shading or texture in hand-drawn animation. Dots of varying sizes and densities are used to create areas of light and shadow, and the closer the dots are together, the darker the area appears. Stippling can be used to create a wide range of textures, such as fur, foliage, or rough surfaces. 7. Reference and observation. Reference and observation are important techniques in hand-drawn animation that involve studying and observing real-life movements, expressions, and details to create realistic and convincing animations. Animators often use references such as photographs, videos, or live models to study the movements and proportions of characters or objects. Observing real-life details such as lighting, perspective, and anatomy helps animators create accurate and believable drawings. These are some of the common drawing and inking techniques used in hand-drawn animation. Skilled animators use a combination of these techniques to create high-quality, visually appealing animations that bring characters and objects to life on the screen.
Thanks for watching. For more information, like, comment, and subscribe our channel.